We're just about a third through the case. 8 days, 16 left. And finally, there's a pattern starting to form. I can see the way the case is going. We've got a world that the fictional universe can inhabit. We've got basic rules. We've got a basic mentality, a style for the stories within. We've even got a basic recipe for creating those stories. It's time to get them made. We're not going to start by outlining huge arcs that span several media, several stories. We're starting simple. Keep it simple, stupid. We're starting with just a pilot story, so to speak. Something that introduces the world, the style, the ideas that will be used as a foundation for this fictional universe. So, what does the recipe tell us to do? Start with the bun. Start with the basic plot, the things that the characters have to do. Do something to something. What do they need to do? Let's just pick something. They have to go somewhere. Why? Well, they are at an academy, an educational institution. So why? They have to fill out paperwork. That's simple. Get from point A to point B, fill out paperwork, do what you want. That's the basis for the story. That is the bun. So what is the beef? What is the meat, the patty between the buns? Well, we'll have to throw some kind of obstacle in their way, something they need to get around. It's silly enough that we can pretty much pick and choose. So let's have two monstrosities suddenly erupt from one of the buildings, fighting across the campus, keeping everyone from crossing their path. And of course, that means cutting off our intrepid heroes from the place where they need to go to do their paperwork. So now, they need to find a way around. And one way or the other, they end up having to go through the building that was torn apart by our mysterious monsters. Inside, they find dangers, they find destroyed buildings that they need to traverse, they find leaks of all kinds of cooking ingredients that are, let's just say, hazardous to your health. They find panicked people, they find angry people, they find students trying to hoard things before everything falls apart, trying to save projects, trying to swipe some herbs or spices that they always wanted to get their hands on but never could. We find chaos, find campus security trying to shore up everything, trying to keep people from getting to the monsters fighting outside. We find chaos, utter chaos. There are many things that can pose challenges, but the reward is always the same. Move forward. And along the way, why not have them encounter someone who is in the first steps of changing into a monster? Someone who is losing control, someone who is acting out. And because of what they see, they start to figure out what's going on. He's wearing strange clothes, very loose, stretchy pants, sweatpants, not very fashionable, but they realized that the monsters were wearing something like it. Stretched out of proportions, yes, but still the same very stretchy material. And it turns out that some of the jocks have been going on late night snacks, swiping food from other students. Some students have had enough of it and put in some experimental spicy dishes, tricking these food thieves into eating something that made them lose control. But through their cooking abilities and with whatever is still operational, our intrepid heroes manage to feed this person what he needs to calm down, and he explains it to them, and they can start trying to find a way to get it under control. And they'll soon need it when it turns out that the monsters, who are now many, have cut off every kind of access to the building that they need to get to. So now it becomes not just getting from A to B, it becomes a matter of bringing down the monsters that are cutting off their path. But this is not about guns and violence, this is about cooking. So it becomes a matter of figuring out, what did they eat? What did these students trick them into eating by putting it into the food they would steal? And what is the antidote against it? That means tracking down the students who did it. That means studying the stuff that was eaten. It's a mystery. It's a culinary mystery. And once that is settled, it's still a matter of getting the antidote into the monsters, which might well mean having to work with a very problematic security force who likes to shoot first and ask simply no questions ever. But once that is done, once the monsters turn back into the people they were, finally, the path is clear to get the paperwork done. And that will be the end of the story. It's a relatively simple story, one that can be easily expanded upon. Plenty of room for added dangers, added excitement, added jokes, added silliness. It's a good way to start our fictional universe off. But even more than that, the simplicity of it allows room to introduce elements of the fictional universe. Have students arrive, have students encounter things, have students react to things. Let them experience the place and let the audience experience it with them. This is the perfect introduction to our fictional universe.